Good morning and welcome back to Before the Noise with TJ. And today's question of the day: who does the New Testament say is an example of patience? Comment below. Patience. Definitely need a little bit more patience every day. Now, today we're going to jump into the book of Job, and roughly takes about 50 minutes to read through. When I first started off this journey about 6-7 months ago, I read this book. Maybe 2 months ago, read it again, and then most recently, I was talking to a close friend about it. Looked up a couple Bible studies, some sermons that were talked about it, and it really broke down to me what this book was trying to say to me. And I think the biggest takeaway was trust and relationship. Now, looking back into my Bible study, it kind of gives you a summary on the first page of what you're looking at, key concepts. Right here, it talks about suffering, talks about wisdom. And when you read through this book, you'll understand he had everything. It was taken away, and then God gave it all back times two. And for me, I think the ending of the book was where I kind of lost attention. I started reading it, I'm looking through it. You look at his three friends, what they were doing, and towards the end, when God was actually speaking to him, is where I wasn't ready to hear it. And what do I mean by that? Was, the first couple times I read it, I didn't really ask the right questions. And, now a little bit further on my journey, I really dug in and I asked, what was God showing him that he's trying to show me right now? And what I saw was that maybe I don't see how big God really is. And towards the end of the book, what God shows him is he has no idea how big God really is. And he breaks down a certain amount of things to him of, do you see what his creation is? How things work, how the stars were created, how the waters, you know, once you start to put in that perspective, how small you really are and how much trust you need to really put in God, all of it makes you laugh. And I heard this off of some type of video, but it was like, when you get on a plane, do you personally know who the pilot is that's flying you? Or when you step into a taxi cab, you know who that driver really is? And it's funny because 99% of the time you have no idea who it is, but you put your full trust in them with your life. Why not do that with God? And it strikes me because we have to learn. He has to put us through certain things for us to understand. And sometimes those things are painful. And, through the book of Job, you see certain painful scenarios, him losing his wealth, him losing his family, him losing his health. But he always kept the faith. And what's funny about it, though, is still God had to teach him the relationship and understanding who his father really is. Right now, I'm going to ask you the question. Do you know how big God is? You know, yes, you might be obedient. Yes, you might jump into the Bible every day. You know, you talk to God every so often throughout the day. Maybe you don't do any of this right now. But even with doing certain things, it's the surrendering of your life to Him. It's understanding that you have zero control and that you need to give it all to Him. You need to do the things that you're doing, not for yourself, but for Him. And I think we get caught up in our own pride and our own feelings. When we do certain great things, you have to take a step, be still, and ask yourself, are you doing those things to make yourself happy? And say to yourself, look how good I'm doing it for God? Or are you truthfully doing it for Him? And now there's many times where I read the Bible and I look back, and I still do it now, that comes as more of a routine sometimes. And those are the times where I catch myself and I laugh now. I say, no, you're doing it for the wrong reason. You should be wanting to do this for Him, to learn who He is, to understand more for Him. So take time today, guys. Reevaluate your thoughts and ask the right questions. You know, if you feel something, DM the channel, talk about it, spread it. I think, you know, a lot of things are happening in a lot of people's lives right now. Don't keep it within. It could help a lot of people. But to finish off today, the answer to our question is in James chapter 5, verse 11. And it's the book that we just talked about, Job. Awesome, guys. Well, you have a beautiful and wonderful day, and we'll catch you tomorrow.